What is up, guys? Today let's talk about Fender guitars, why I love Fender guitars. If you watch my video on how to buy your first guitar, you'll know that I'm a big fan of just buying the guitar that sparks the most joy in you, the one that really just speaks to you the most. And for me, Fender style guitars have always been really those type of guitars that spoke to me the most. I think it has to do a lot with my history with guitar. The first time I ever really consciously seen the guitar were in movies. The first movie I can really think about was the movie Selena, when they hire her new guitarist in the band and he's just shredding the crap out of this Stratocaster. I think it's the Richie Sambora Stratocaster because it has stars on the fret boards and it just looks amazing, and that scene is just, it was really etched in my head when I watched it the first time. Also, a lot of the bands and the guitarists I was into back when I first started guitar, a lot of those guys played Stratocasters or even Telecasters, like Jimmy Page and David Gilmour, all of those guys. And on top of that, Eddie Van Halen played a Stratocaster. It was a Frankencaster, but to me, it still had that classic design of a Stratocaster, and that album right there, right up here, is really what I would say cemented the idea of the Stratocaster in my head. It just, there's nothing that looks like a Strat or even a Telecaster. Those classic Fender designs are just so amazing. I know the Stratocaster is a very popular guitar, and it's really easy to just riff on it and just say, you know, everybody has one. Why should I play one? You know, it's so status quo as an instrument. But to be honest, it's a very legendary instrument, and I think it still holds up to this day. It's very timeless. And I would say it's kind of arrogant to say that the Stratocaster is just another guitar. To me, when I look at classic guitars, I see them a lot like I would a muscle car, an old 70s, 80s, well, maybe not 80s, but an old 70s, 60s muscle car. They just look so fantastic. They have that curvature to it that just really speaks miles to its beauty. When I look at a Stratocaster or a Telecaster, I see that same type of design to them. The newer guitars to me, like the Ibanez guitars and the Schecter guitars, those things, they look like they're more in line with supercars. They're great looking. I like supercars. I'm a huge fan of the Lamborghini, and but to me, there's nothing better looking than classic cars or something that's got that classic look to it, that timeless kind of classic look to it. It may be a bit shallow of me to say that it's almost purely aesthetics that I like Fender, but to be honest, that's why I like them. They just have that body shape that I love about it. It's the guitar that speaks to me the most. And when I visualize myself with a guitar, it's usually a guitar in that category, just really vintage, that nice vintage timeless look to it. That's what I really like about the Stratocaster and the Telecaster. There's so many companies out there that emulate that look, and they've done things that Fender just really will not do at the time. And I don't really blame Fender for that, because they're more of a classic rock blues brand itself, and they really need to appeal to their main demographic. But the stuff that other companies are doing with their classic looks, they have taken what Fender created back in the heyday, and they've made it more modern looking and more modern sounding. That's a huge reason why I like the Jim Root guitar. It takes all of the classic designs from Fender itself, and it really brings it into the modern age. And that's one thing I really like about the Jim Root guitar itself and what he's doing at Fender. It's really cool. I wouldn't say I'm a Fender loyalist at all. Fender has done a lot of great things, but I wouldn't categorize them as the best playing guitars or even the best sounding guitars at all. They are great at what they do. They sound great and they play great, but in my opinion, the best playing guitars are Ibanez guitars. They just freaking rip. And in terms of sound, I would probably go with Gibson, more or less. Maybe not modern day Gibson, but just that Gibson huge freaking balls to the wall sound. It's just nothing like it. If I were to make my own guitar, it would basically be the combination of all of those elements together and to create something amazing, which is very similar to the Jim Root guitar. I think it does a really great job at implementing playability, looks, and tone itself. As long as the playing and the sound are up to snuff, just buy the guitars that speak to you the most. I think that's the most important thing to do when it comes to buying a guitar. You can be rational up to a point, but there's a certain emotional side to buying a guitar, which I think most people tap into when they do buy a guitar. So just have fun with it and buy what you like.